Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Ben Lüning, I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and this is Horst Lüning, the senior taster. And today we are trying the Glen Moray Rising 2023. Yeah,
Rising Phoenix.
Rising Phoenix. Oh,
the Phoenix is the...
Phoenix Rising. Yeah, it's a bit of a play on word. It follows the fire oak. 10 years, and it is a normal bourbon cask, and it was in heavily charred wine casks, and that makes it charred ash fire, the Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, the question is, if you char a cask very heavily, then is there something left over from the liquid which was before in that cask? Probably not, because it's too hot. And what happens mainly is that there will be a thick layer of charcoal on the inside of the cask, and this thick layer of charcoal is a active coal, an active filtering system which filters very, very well the unwanted substances out of the alcohol, those faints, those very light, bad-tasting substances coming with the foreshots, which might be probably a little bit in the cask. So heavily charred casks deliver a lot of, smooth whiskey. And secondly, if you're heating and charring the cask heavily, then there will be more conversion of the celluloses from the staves of the cask into wood sugars, and this should lead to more caramel.
Yeah,
that's
and
the theory.
I've just missed the line. Glen Moray is known for their wine cask finish. They were pioneers in that business. This is not a wine cask finish. Nothing to do with wine cask. So it was matured in bourbon cask and finished in heavily charred new oak.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also what you said with heavily charred and heating and making more wood sugars, and new oak also tends to have a lot more of it. Yeah. So we're expecting a lot of what you just said with the wood sugars and the caramel that comes from the caramelized wood sugars, and yeah. So yeah. And also when I was there, I think it was 2018 or maybe 19, and they had a big flooding in the area.
Yeah, this was after the time I had been there. Yeah.
I think you've been like 10 or 15 years beforehand, or even longer.
A deep taste of rainwater from the flooding. No, they had some damage, and the casks were floating around because wood and alcohol is lighter than water, so they were floating in the warehouses. Very, very sorry about that.
Yeah, there was let me just taste it and then I'll tell the story.
So there had been a light fruitiness in the first sniff, but then turning into spicier aromas, a little oakiness, even more oakiness, and the spiciness is growing.
I like it. I find a lot of caramel in there, a lot of oak, and it goes into one of these chocolatey dark caramel. You know, there's a German treat called Riesen, and there's a version with dark chocolate, and it really feels like a praline or like confect with dark chocolate and caramel in there, and a little bit of a spiciness, as you said. Now that I smelled a bit longer, a little bit of a
the caramel
pepperiness.
I'm getting now as well. I expect always caramel, so my brain just deletes it.
Yeah, but I think here in that one, it's pretty intense.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Spiciness in it, definitely, and then oakiness. Distinct oakiness, more than I would have expected. Really more. So this charring of the cask delivers not only the charcoal for filtering the content, but as well the oakiness. Yeah, very strong, very intense, and nuttiness in the back. And well, it's a malt whiskey, some maltiness in it.
I like it, very intense. Feels a lot like oak. You have a lot of oak in that, with strangely enough, these more dark tones and heftier tones from the oak. A little bit of tannin comes through. Yes, you do have vanilla. Yes, you do have caramel, but you feel the overwhelmingness, or the overwhelming of the oak. Yeah, with a little bit of nuttiness coming from the oak as well. Yeah.
And the spiciness is still present. Yeah. And we haven't told about that. It's priced in the lower 30s here in Central Europe.
It's an entry level whiskey.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's nice that you have such a bourbon cask, more intense, fresh oak cask whiskey, but it's not an old and complex one. You have the foreground flavors very, very well, but it's not an old complex one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story about the Glen Moray was when I talked to him, I think it was one of the guys from the warehouses, or I think the master blender, so a lot involved in the warehouse, and he said when they had the big flooding, suddenly everybody was working in warehouse. Or suddenly everybody had to work in warehousing. They were like, everybody were like from accounting and bookkeeping, and like, come on down, there are casks to fish out of the river. Yeah, so everybody had to work in warehousing then. Yeah, so have a look at Whisky.com in the shop, and you will find the Glen Moray Phoenix Rising there. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.